Hello, everybody, and good evening, or good afternoon, or good morning, depending which part of the world you are right now. I'm so excited today because once again we have Monday, and Monday evening is E2E, Expert to Experts, bringing you the world's best experts here to serve you and add an extremist value in order for you to go forward, go faster, and impact your life for the greater good. So I'm so excited today because one of the guests that we are going to have today is Mr. Myron Golden. And I had the privilege of meeting him 3 years ago in an event where I was managing the team and I was helping Success Resources in that event in London. And we had some amazing speakers, but there was one thing that touched me about this amazing man, and you're gonna know about it right now. So, two things: drop down in the comments and let us know which part of the world you are watching us, okay? Because Myron is from Florida, so we may have some people from the States watching us right now. And we have some people from Europe, from South Africa, from all over the world watching us. So drop down in the comments where you are watching us. And please, hashtag live if you're watching us live, and hashtag recording if you're watching the recording in a second moment, okay? Just to remind you, we are live on our LinkedIn platform. We are live on the Facebook. We're live on YouTube, on Twitter, and also Twitch. So please, if you like what you're doing right now, just click on the button and share it. Share it, share it, share it. All right, so we've got some people from Bulgaria right now just joining us. Yeah, from Plovdiv, the second biggest city of Bulgaria. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. We're glad that you're here with us, and that's amazing. That's really amazing. Thank you for joining. Whoever is watching us, just drop down which part of the world you are watching us right now. All right? So we are living unprecedented times right now in history, and one of the things we wanted to do at the very beginning of E2E, Expert to Expert, is bring you the best people in the world. And the guest that we are going to have this evening is somebody who has mastered the game. And he's an authority in his department and in his industry, okay? First of all, he is an amazing man, and he is also a bestseller, and he wrote an amazing book. Let me tell you what book he wrote, and best-selling book, and the book is From the Trash Man to the Cash Man, okay? And this is how anyone can get rich and overcome situations. But you know what? I don't want to take too much time right now. I just want to bring him right now on stage. So, ladies and gentlemen, please give me a drum bass with your hands, and let's all give an amazing hand and welcome Mr. Myron. There we go. Golden. There we go.
Hello, Moses. Hello. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. Yes, we have people asking, is this live? Yes, it is live.
Is live.
We are just here watching you, and from London and from Florida in the States, Mr. Myron Golden is right now here with us. All right.
Absolutely. And glad to be here.
So glad to be here with you right now. And just to kick on straight away. I believe a lot of people ask you this question, okay? When talking about your life, adversity has been a principal part of it. And what has been the greatest adversity that you had to overcome? And how can this be useful in such time like this, where people just see the dark side of the tunnel and they don't see any light? How can they overcome adversity, whether they have a business or in general in life?
Yeah, I think the best way to overcome adversity is to realize it's just as natural part of life as achievement is. Like, people don't understand. Like, I had polio as an infant, and I think that's what you're referring to, but I don't even know that that's the greatest adversity I've ever overcome in my life. I mean, I don't, to me, it doesn't feel like an adversity at all. It just feels like my life. And so a lot of times, we get these stories because we develop these stories because we believe we're supposed to, right? And so, like, I walk with a brace on my leg and I walk with a limp, and so other people looking at me assume that must be so hard. And so a lot of times we will adapt and adopt a story that somebody else expects us to have because that's what they expect us to have. But the reality is, yes, when I was a child, it was hard watching other children run and I couldn't run, and seeing that other children could do things I couldn't do. But the reality was I knew that I could do things they couldn't do. And so every upside has a downside. Every downside has an upside. And I think what we all have to do is we have to learn to embrace the entirety of our assignment so that we can get the most out of the difficulties that we have to go through.
That's really powerful. So the polio that happened to you and led you to not have part of your leg wasn't even your greatest adversity. So you had to.
Yeah, and it wasn't that I don't have part of my, I mean, I have my whole leg, but my left leg didn't develop as fast as the rest of me. So by the time I was 13, my left leg was 2 inches shorter than my right leg. And so I had to wear a brace because my left leg wasn't as strong as my right leg. Even to this day, my left leg can't even hold itself up, so let alone it can't hold me up. So that's why I walk with a brace. But that's just part of my life. It's kind of like you don't feel the color of your hair, right?
Exactly.
Right. You have, like, my hair is mostly white now, but like when I was growing up, I had dark hair, but I didn't make me feel it. It's just my hair. It just felt like, oh, yeah, that's hair. And so having a brace on my leg is just part of my life. It doesn't feel like some major obstacle that I had to overcome, even though it may look like that to other people from the outside looking in. And I think what we have to understand is there are patterns, and there are patterns in life. And I love the fact that the Bible has a lot of patterns in it as well, because most people mistakenly think the Bible is a book about religion, but it's not a book about religion, even though it contains some religions. The Bible is a book about a king and a kingdom and a royal family and the culturalization of a foreign land. And when I think about the fact that the Bible is a book of principles and patterns and promises and precepts and prophecies and prayers and practices that give us the ability to make predictions about outcomes in the future, so we can position ourselves in the path of prosperity, so we can know what's going to happen before it happens. If I do this, then I can expect this outcome. And so one of the patterns that I see in Scripture is that disruption always follows intention. And so once we understand that disruption always follows intention, if we go through life understanding that that's the pattern, when we get ready to do a new thing and the disruption shows up, we're not shocked by that. We're not blown away by, oh my goodness, there's a disruption. Oh my goodness, I started working out and my arms got sore, right? I started working out and I'm more tired than I was when I started. I started eating right, and all of a sudden I had a stomach ache and I had Montezuma's revenge. Well, disruption always follows intention. You start a new business, that doesn't mean you're going to go make $1 million the first year. You might go in the hole 300,000 the first year, but disruption always follows intention. That is not necessarily a sign that you are going in the wrong direction. In fact, oftentimes it's a sign that you're going in the absolute right direction. So
wow.
I don't know if that answered your question or not, Mose, but hopefully that made some sense.
Absolutely. Disruption follows always intention. That's amazing. So powerful. And we have a question. Somebody is asking, what are we talking about? So when I got in touch with Myron, we decided to talk about something that could help and bring a lot of value to our audience. And this is something that is really keen on his heart, which is the science of selling high tickets. Okay, so for those of you who want to know what are we talking about today, we are talking about the science of selling high tickets. And Myron, you're talking about science. So could it be possible that there is a science? Because when we talk about science, that means there's a structure, there's a logic process. Is there a logic process on how to sell?
Well, there is. So let's just talk about the word science first, right? A lot of things today that purport to be science are not science at all. They're theories. There's theories by scientists, but don't make the mistake of thinking that just because a scientist puts out a theory that means it's a scientific theory, because it's not. It's the theory of a scientist. So when I was in elementary school, they taught me that the definition of science is observable. So if you can't observe it, it's not science. Science is repeatable. And science is predictable. And so when I understand that something is scientific, it needs to be observable, it needs to be predictable, and it needs to be, it needs to be repeatable, and it needs to be predictable. So that way, if I do a scientific experiment, and the reason it's observable because it actually exists. The reason it's repeatable and predictable is because science is based on principles, and principles are laws that govern our experience of life. I like to call principles God's automation. And so when I talk about the science of high ticket, there are things about making high ticket offers as an entrepreneur that are observable, repeatable, and predictable. And so it's not something like you don't have to hope to make sales. And I had a coaching call with a bunch of my inner circle members this morning, and my inner circle program is a $155,000 program, and I think we had like 13 people that were actually live. That's not all of our students. We had 13 people that were actually on live with us for that coaching program this morning, and we were talking about some of the concepts about how do you make a high ticket offer, because you don't make a high ticket offer the same way you make a low ticket offer. So hopefully that made some sense. So when we talk about science, like you can know what's going to happen if you will put certain components in place.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So when you talk about science, for those of you who have just joined right now, we've got Myron Golden from Florida, and he's talking about the science of selling high tickets. And in order to be a science, just breaking down the word science. Science has to be observable, repeatable, and predictable. Okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And right now, in such a situation where everybody is kind of living a life beneath their means, and they are more afraid, and they're looking more at limitation than potential. Selling high tickets, is it something that is easy, better? How can somebody get out from a situation like that right now in this COVID?
Yeah, so a couple of things. So let's do a basic business foundation first, right? So let's assume somebody has established a business. And so if you have an established business, hopefully you started the kind of business that can make you wealthy instead of the kind that can just make you tired. So in fact, I'm going to share really quickly. I've got time. So I'm going to share really quickly the basic 5 of business success. Would you like me to share that with you really quickly and let that lead into high ticket? Would that be okay, Mose?
Yes, please.
Okay, so the basic 5. So the basic 5, it's 5 points. Number 1 is there's one primary purpose for being in business. And that one primary purpose is wealth producing profits. So the primary reason I should start a business is to create wealth, is to create profits that produce wealth. When I say wealth, I'm not talking about wealth so I can just drive a nice car or live in a nice house. I'm talking about legacy wealth. I'm talking about the kind of legacy wealth that sets up my children and my grandchildren, so my children don't have to start over from scratch. My grandchildren won't have to start over from scratch. So the primary purpose for being in business is wealth producing profits. The primary purpose for being in business is not just to make some money, right? So I am in business to produce wealth. But in order for this to be my number one objective in business, then I have to get resolved. I have to get to the place in my life where I've resolved my internal conflicts with wealth, because most people have a lot of internal conflicts with wealth and they think there's something inherently wrong with making money. But I submit to you that wealth is a good idea because wealth is a God idea. And what do I mean when I say that? Well, I believe that God's the one who created the concept of wealth. It's really interesting. The substance that represents wealth around the world always has, since the beginning of time, is gold. And there's a law of Bible interpretation called the law of first mention. You have to have the law of context. I have to understand it in the context in which it's written. Who was talking? Who were they talking to? When were they talking? What were they talking about? It can never say what it's never said. It can never mean what it's never meant. So context, then I've got the law of definitions. I got to look up the definitions of every word in a passage in order for me to understand it. And then there's the law of first mention. The law of first mention is, however God first mentions anything in Scripture, that is his original design for the thing. So I remember one day I was walking through my house and I thought to myself, I wonder how many times gold is mentioned in the book of Genesis, because Genesis is the first book of the Bible. I was thinking about the law of first mention, and I was thinking about wealth. And I realized that, and I thought, well, gold's got to be in there at least 500 times. But I looked it up. It's not in there 500 times. Gold is mentioned in the book of Genesis exactly 8 times. Now, that's a really significant point that I just made, that gold is mentioned exactly 8 times. Why? Because every number has significance. And the significance of numbers, I'm going to go through them really quickly. 1 is the number of unity. 2 is the number of separation. 3 is the number of God. 4 is the number of the earth. 5 is the number of grace. 6 is the number of man. 7 is the number of completion. 8 is the number of abundance, infinity, eternity, and the new beginning. There's 7 days in a week, and then there's a new beginning. There are 7 ages, and then there's 6 ages, then the millennial age, that's the 7th age, and then eternity, that's 8, the new beginning. It's also the symbol for infinity. In fact, if you take an 8 and turn it on its side, it's the symbol for infinity. And gold is mentioned exactly 8 times in Genesis. Every time gold is mentioned in the book of Genesis, it is always mentioned in conjunction with God's people, which tells me that the reason God put wealth on the earth is for his people. That's why it's here. In fact, the first time it's mentioned as providence for God's people, Genesis chapter 2, verses 11 and 12. It says, and there's gold in that land, and the gold of that land is good. That's the first time gold is mentioned in the book of Genesis. Well, the interesting thing about that is it was in the Garden of Eden. It was in the Garden of Eden. There are 2 people. There are no stores. There's nothing to buy. There's nothing for sale. Food was free, and yet God put gold there, but he didn't just put gold there. He put it there, and he told us it was there, but he didn't just put it there and tell us it was there. He put it there, he told us it was there, and he told us it was good. So I don't believe that wealth is inherently evil. I don't believe that wealth is inherently neutral. I believe that wealth is inherently good, even though sometimes people use it for bad. And I know I just said a whole bunch of words, but hopefully that really touched something for you. It also, in Genesis chapter 1, the adjective good was mentioned exactly 7 times. God said, and it was so, and God saw that it was good 7 times. The 8th time God used the adjective good was in Genesis chapter 2, verse 12, where he said there's gold in that land, and the gold of that land is good. So Genesis chapter 2, verse number 12, there's gold in that land, the gold of that land is good. So the first time gold is mentioned as providence for God's people. The second time it's mentioned as a possession by God's people in Genesis chapter 13. Abraham is the first person the Bible tells us was rich. It says, and Abram was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold. The first person the scripture tells us was rich was Abraham. He is the father of the faith and the father of the faithful, the friend of God, and the scripture says he was rich. Now, that's really interesting, because most people think that wealth is inherently evil, and people who have wealth are inherently evil, but God made Abraham rich, and he was the first person the scripture tells us was rich. So the second time it was mentioned as providence for possession by God's people. Third time it's mentioned in Genesis chapter 24, and that's where Eliezer goes and finds a wife for Isaac, and it's mentioned as proof that we are God's people. And so what he did was he said, God has blessed my master, and he's given my master all this wealth, and my master has left it to his son, and that's who I'm looking for a wife with. That's who I'm looking for a wife for. And Rebecca decided that day to go with Eliezer back to meet her new husband. So proof that we're God's people. One of the last times it's mentioned, it's not the last time, but one of the last times it's mentioned in Genesis chapter 41, verse 42, and it's mentioned as a provision for God's people. It's the only time in the book of Genesis where somebody who's not a child of God has gold, and that is where Pharaoh took the gold ring off his finger and put it on Joseph's finger, took the gold chain off his neck, put it on Joseph's neck. So that was shown as provision for God's people. So we have to get over this idea that we think money is inherently evil, because if you don't get over that, you can't have wealth producing profits. You may have some other reason. Maybe it was your parents that made you feel like wealth was bad. Maybe it was a teacher. Maybe it was a sibling. Maybe it was an experience. Maybe it was watching your parents argue about money, so you thought you grew up thinking money caused arguments. But whatever it is, you got to get over your internal resistance to wealth, because if you don't, you will never work hard to become something you despise. So that's number 1 in the basic 5. Number 2, there are 2 types of businesses. There's either a business that sells a service or a business that sells a product. If you start a business that sells a service, then that service requires time to fulfill. So you have a limited amount of time. So if you start a service-based business, you started a limited business, a business that can only produce limited wealth, right? But if you sell a product, it takes no longer to sell 100 products than it does to sell 1. It takes no longer to sell 1 million products than it does to sell 1. And so if you start a business that sells a product, you've increased your chances of becoming wealthy just by starting the right type of business. Start a business that has a product. If you've already started a business and your business is a service-based business, maybe it's a janitorial service, maybe it's a plumbing service, maybe it's electrical service, maybe it's some other kind of service. If you already started a business and it's a service-based business, figure out some part of that business that you can productize, right? So that's 2. 1, the primary purpose for being in business is wealth producing profits. 2, there are 2 types of business: a service-based business, a product-based business. 3, there are 3 functions of business. Function number 1, the first function of business is innovation. And innovation is when I create or invent or partner with somebody who has a product the marketplace is screaming for. Function number 2 is marketing. And function number 3 is money management. And so innovation is creating a product that the marketplace is screaming for. Marketing is the art and the science of discovering and developing in other people a desire for more and more of your product, your service, your opportunity. Money management is managing your money in such a way that the outgo doesn't exceed the income, so the upkeep does not become the downfall of your business. So those are the 3 functions of business. 4, there are 4 ways to grow a business. There are only 4. 1, the first way to grow a business is you have to increase your lead generation. So increase your lead generation. So lead generation, you increase your lead generation. The second thing you want to do is you want to increase your lead conversion. The third thing you want to do is you want to increase your customer ascension. And the fourth thing you want to do is you want to increase your customer retention. So when you do if you do one of these things, you can double your business. But if you do all 4 of those things, you can 10x your business. In fact, these 4 ways to grow a business, every business growth book you will ever read in your life. So every time you read a business growth book, every business growth book that you read for the rest of your life, it can only be talking about these 4 things or some variation of these 4 things. Every business growth book is about these things. It doesn't matter if it's Myron Golden's book, Tony Robbins' book, Russell Brunson's book, Moses' book, Tatka's book. It doesn't matter whose book it is. If you read a book about business growth, those are the only 4 things that they can teach you. Now, let's talk about what those 4 things can do for you, because if you understand those 4 things and you understand the significance of them, you can literally take your business from $10,000 a month to $128,000 a month with those 4 moves. So what do I mean by that? So let's say right now you're generating 100 leads per month. And then let's say you're converting 10% of those leads. Well, that means you're making 10 sales, right? And let's say every sale is worth $1,000. You're making 10 sales. So your business is doing $10,000 a month, or 10,000 pounds a month, depending on where you are. So you're either doing $10,000 a month or 10,000 pounds a month in revenue. If you want to take that to 128,000 pounds, all you have to do is those 4 things I just showed you. If you double those, if you will fix those 4 components of your business. And Moses, I'm going to take my jacket off because I'm getting a little warm and I forgot to crank up my air conditioner. So I'm going to take my jacket off. So hope that's okay.
Yeah, you can do it.
I'm getting a little worked up, brother. I'm getting a little worked up.
And you are still doing really good, Fit. Come on.
Okay, let's go. So let's say you're generating 100 leads a month, right? And I said the first thing you got to do is you got to improve your lead generation, right? So you improve your lead gen, and what happens, let's go, say you double this, you go from 100 leads a month to 200 leads a month, and now everything else stays the same. Well, if you go from 100 leads a month to 200 leads a month, well, now you're getting twice as many leads, but your conversion rate's still 10%. So now, instead of having 10 sales a month, you're at $1,000 or 1,000 pounds, right? Instead of 10 sales, now you've got 20 sales. So 20 sales times 1,000, now you're making $20,000 or 20,000 pounds, whatever, depending on where you're from, right? Or 20,000 euros. Okay, I don't want to leave the people out in Europe. So whatever you're making 10,000, 20,000, you just doubled your revenue and you only fixed one thing. So the second one is lead conversion. B, lead conversion. When you fix your lead conversion, let's say instead of converting 10%, let's start converting 20%. So now you're converting 20% of 200 leads. So 20% of 200 leads, now you're making 40 sales a month. So 40 sales a month times $1,000 or 1,000 pounds, whatever, that equals what? $40,000, pounds, or euros, whatever your money system is. You're making 40,000. You fix 2 things, you've quadrupled your business. And by the way, most businesses, their conversion rates are terrible because they've never studied sales. All you have to do is learn, like hire a sales coach, find somebody who can coach you or your salespeople, whoever does sales for your business, find somebody who can coach them on sales, and you can double your conversion rate, especially if you're only converting at 10%. Okay, so now the next thing you want to do is 40%. Next thing was lead conversion. Next thing is customer ascension. So now you want to do a customer ascension path. Okay, now before you only had one product, $1,000, right? So what we're going to do, we're going to add a $10,000 pound euro product, right? We're going to add a 10,000 pound, $10,000, 10,000 euro product, right? And let's say, since we're making 40 sales a month, let's say we're going to convert 10% of those 40. 10% of 40 is 4. We're going to convert 4 people on this 10,000 a month, and now we got another 40,000 a month. So now we got another 40,000 a month. So we add that 40,000 a month to this 40,000 a month, and now we're at 80,000 a month, and we still have one more thing to fix. This is so cool. Then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to add customer retention. What's customer retention? Well, that's when we get them to come back and buy even more. One of the best ways to have customer retention is to have some kind of continuity program. So what you do is you add to, remember your original product up here that you're selling for $1,000? We're going to add forced continuity on the back end. So when they buy this $1,000 product, we're going to give them access to our newsletter, our membership site, or our software, whichever one, and we're going to charge them $97 a month, or basically $100 a month. So in fact, I'm going to call it 100. So we're going to charge them 100 a month, right? And that 100 a month, we're going to convert. We're going to force continuity of these people into that software, newsletter, membership site. I don't care which one. You can call it whatever you want to call it. But you get them to pay. So you give them, they pay you up front $1,000, but 3 months later, the $100 a month kicks in, right? And so now every month you're getting 40 leads. I mean, you're getting 40 sales. Where am I 40? You're getting 40 sales times 100. 40 times 100 equals 40 times 100 equals $4,000 a month, or pounds or euros or whatever. Okay, you do that times 12 months. Times 12 months, that equals 48,000 extra dollars a month at the end of a year. Pounds, euros, okay, or dollars. So now you add the 48,000. Let's go. You add the $48,000 pounds, euros to the 80,000. Now you're at $128,000 per year, and you've only fixed 4 things. That's powerful. That is,
wow.
Those are the 4 ways to grow a business. And I did the math right in front of you, so you know the math is right. So was that pretty cool? Was that pretty cool, Mose?
Absolutely. That was really cool. I mean, this has been 27 years experience in just a couple of minutes.
That's kind of old now. It's like more like 37 years now. I'm old 37. Now. See, I got all this.
All right. So you're giving yourself 10 years more. So this is 37 years of experience breaking down in just literally 5 minutes with bringing you numbers. Okay. So I believe that these are the principles, because I believe you are the man who walks your talk. So this is what
this is how I live my life.
Exactly. So coming back to your book, because I'm so fascinated on how you are able to go from the trashman to the cashman, applying these principles, and now this is your entire life. Tell us more about how you went from the trashman to the cashman.
I'm going to show you when I show you step number 5 in the basic 5, because it's the basic 5. I gave you 4 of them. Here's how you. I'm going to show you how do you make $1 million a year, £1 million a year, €1 million a year, $1 million. How do you make $1 million a year, right? Well,
there you go.
Okay, so what you want to do is you want to have a product that you sell for $20 or 20 pounds or 20 euros, right? And you want to sell. Are you ready for this? Sell 50,000 of them. there are so many, like if you had that product could be a book. It could be like Trash Man to Cash Man. It could be Click and Order for Brick and Mortar. It could be whatever. Any one of these books on my shelf. You have a book. So I have this book. This book sells for $24.95, right? So it sells for $24.95. Let's say, and basically this book is teaching all this stuff that I just wrote on the board, right? So this book teaches these concepts, and I sell this for $24.95. Let's say it makes me $20 profit. Okay, $20 profit. So if I sell 50,000 of them, that's $1 million, 1 million pounds, $1 million, 1 million euros, 1 million. It's 1 million, whatever. Okay. So now, what's really cool is I learned this really cool math trick when I was in elementary school. They said if you're multiplying two numbers that end in 0, multiply the two numbers and then just bring down the zeros. So 5 times 2 is 10. This is 10, and then count the zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's my answer, right? So what's really cool, if that's the case, 50,000 $20 products makes me $1 million. If I take the 0 off the back of this number and I put it on the back of that number, and I take my $20 book and I turn it into a $200 home study course, I only have to sell 5,000 of them to make the same $1 million. So now I did 1/10 of the work and made the same amount of money. Okay. So as soon as I figured that out, I hired a minister and a scientist and a lawyer because I wanted to see if there are any spiritual laws, any scientific laws, or any municipal laws against moving zeros. They said, no, you can move as many as you want. So I said, I'm going to move another one. So when you take that $200 home study course, you turn it into a $2,000 group coaching program. Now you only have to sell 500 of them to make the same $1 million. Well, here's what's cool about 500 sales. 500 sales is only 10 a week. 10 a week is only 2 a day, 5 days a week. You can literally, with a $2,000 offer, make 2 sales a day, 5 days a week, have weekends off, and still make $1 million a year. Now that's mind-blowing. But wait a minute. What if I move another 0 and I have a $20,000 mastermind? Well, if I have a $20,000 mastermind, or 20,000 pounds, 20,000 euros, then I only have to sell 50 of them to make the same money. That's only 1 a week. But what happens if I move another 0 and I've got a 200,000 pound offer, or $200,000 or 200,000 euro offer? I only have to sell 5 to make the same $1 million. So people say that 0 has no value. I say the value of 0 is determined by where you put the 0. And so make sure that as you're building your business, you put your zeros in the right place. And if you put your zeros in the right place, your zeros can make you a financial hero. And so what happens is I figured out all this really, really cool math. And I said, you know what? That is the basic 5. But if you saw, I don't know if you remember back here, all the way back here, right? On page 2. Okay. On page 2, right here, I said, customer ascension. This right here, customer ascension, is the master key. Why? Because customer ascension, selling a high ticket offer, is the thing that will give you the best chance at scaling your business fast. Like, do you realize that if you have $1 million, like I have 3 offers, right? I have 3 high ticket offers. I think I'm getting ready to get rid of the lowest one. I have a $55,000 offer. I have a $155,000 offer, and I have a $1 million offer. All of these are offers I've sold. So none of these are theory. All of these are offers that I have sold and still sell, right? So I have 3 different offers. Do you realize if I make $1 million sale today, that means I had $1 million day, and I had $1 million week, and I had $1 million month, and I had $1 million year. So now, once I have a high ticket offer, it gives me the ability to buy back my time. So now I have time to think and grow rich. So I need to figure out if selling high ticket offers is the key, because if I have a $20 book, I have to sell 1,000 of those to make $20,000. But if I have a $20,000 mastermind, I only have to sell 1 to make $20,000. So if I want to get to $1 million with a $20,000 program, all I have to do is sell 50 of them. That's pretty stinking cool. 50 $20,000 products. That's $1 million. That's only 1 a week. And so the reason I'm telling you that is you're probably thinking, but who's going to pay me $50,000, or who's going to pay me $20,000? Well, the people who are already right now paying somebody else $20,000, but you could produce that same result. And sometimes you could produce that same result better and faster and with less human effort. So if you understand that the real secret sauce to high ticket offers is not the high ticket offer, but it's the high value that you bring into the marketplace that causes somebody to want to pay you a high ticket. So Mose, is that helpful?
Yeah, there we go. Absolutely, yes. And I was wondering, this sounds so beautiful and sounds so easy. Obviously, there's needed some effort to be done and some action. What
Sure.
would you tell somebody who is starting from literally from zero and they have really scraped the bottom and they need to start from somewhere? What would be your greatest advice right now on how to start from zero with zero money, zero products, zero ideas? What would be your suggestion?
To find somebody that has a result that they can produce and offer to sell that to them on sell that for them on straight commission. So like you can find people who have high ticket offers already. Cosmetic dentists have high ticket offers. Cosmetic surgeons have high ticket offers. Lawyers have high ticket offers. Go offer to sell their products for them. Go offer to create lead generate. You know what? You can build a business. I told you guys about the four ways to grow a business: lead generation, lead conversion, customer ascension, customer retention. Do you realize you can go improve any one of those 4 things for a business, and that can be $1 million a year business for you, because you can charge them a $5,000 a month retainer, right? And then charge them a percentage of the back end profits. And there you go. You got a business. But what you're going to have to get good at, the one skill that you're going to have to get good at that most people resist, is you're going to have to get good at making offers. You're going to have to get good at selling. And most people don't like to sell. I happen to love to sell. But one of the reasons I love to sell is because I was willing to do a lot of presentations even when I was bad. When I first got started, I was the worst, like maybe the worst salesperson in the history of the world. When I started selling insurance and investments, back when I used to drive a trash truck, I would go out at night and I would try to sell insurance and investments. And literally from the time I got started in that company where I sold insurance and investments to the time I made my first sale, it was 18 months. I was so terrible. But after I made my first sale, within a couple of months, I was the #1 salesperson in our office month after month after month after month after month. Why? Because I was willing to be bad long enough to get good, and I ran out of all the ways that wouldn't work. The only thing I had left were ways that would work.
That's really powerful, and it reminds me my story. I started selling really young, and I was door-to-door sales, and I was selling commodities, electricity and gas contracts. And it took me a couple of months before closing my own sale. But then after that, I had in mind closing number 5, because when you close 5, you could ring the bell. I closed 20, so I get it. And I believe that was really vital. So for those of you who have just joined us right now, we've got Mr. Myron Golden from Florida, and he's teaching us how the science of selling high tickets. And one thing that is really important, that he said, that you do not have any type of excuse. So even if you don't have a product, hey, Moses, Myron, you guys, it's easy. You guys have coaching programs. Both of you are training. You're business consultants. You know what you're doing. I don't have any product and I don't know where to start. Myron has given us a golden tip. Start on from selling other people's products. So the key word, if you agree, Myron, is leverage on somebody else's shoulders.
Absolutely.
Make yourself
Absolutely. Absolutely. Partnerships are one of the greatest ways in the world to create wealth. If you look at the fact that Steve Jobs revolutionized 5 different industries, revolutionized the computer industry, the phone industry, the music industry, the movie industry, the watch industry. When you think about the fact that this man revolutionized 5 different industries, like revolutionized them. And he didn't start Apple Computer. Steve Wozniak did. Steve Wozniak invented the first Apple Computer. Steve Jobs just partnered with the right guy. And so all you have to do is find somebody to partner with who's weak where you're strong, and then you help them take their message to the world. And the next thing you know, who knows? Maybe you're a millionaire, maybe you're a billionaire.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then another question. A lot of people were asking me, oh, but this guy, he has been training and he has friends, Russell Brunson, ClickFunnels, Dan Lok. So on your point of view, you have obviously impacted and helped all these big names. We have seen you on stages with the biggest people in the world, serving and consulting the biggest companies and most profitable companies. I mean, we have seen you have services which start from 55 K US dollars, to 1 million.
Right.
So, on your point of view, based on your experience as a consultant, what can you tell us about the peer group and the environment? Because I believe, based on my experience, when I was selling, I always kept a distance from the people who are moaning and complaining, and that was my key for my success.
Well,
Do you relate to this?
Certainly, I certainly agree with that. But the only limitations that really exist for you are the ones that exist in your mind. You don't have any limitations out here. All of your limitations are in here. And when you explode the limitations in here, you've just broken through. The reality is, like when I first got started as a consultant, the only business I knew was network marketing. So I would teach network marketers how to build their network marketing team. And I didn't start out with a $55,000, $155,000, $1 million coaching program. I started out with a $147 offer. But the first time I offered it to a group of people, I did $5,900 in sales. And the fact that I could deliver real value to people, that's what caused them to say, hey, I want to buy what this guy is selling. And so you have to figure out what is the value that you bring into the marketplace that would cause somebody to want to pay you to work with you. When you know the answer to that, now you can get paid. And so you have to understand that rich people and poor people don't value the same things. See, poor people value money over time. Rich people value time over money. What do I mean by that? You've heard the phrase time is money. Well, guess what? I got bad news for you. It's a lie. Time is not money. Time is infinitely more valuable than money. If you go through life believing that time is money, you'll waste a whole bunch of your time to save a little bit of money, and you'll sell all of your time or a lot of your time for exchange a whole bunch of your time for a little bit of somebody else's money. But when you realize time is more valuable than money, you'll invest as much money as necessary to buy back the rest of your life. The reason I hire coaches is because it buys me time. It saves me time. Somebody who already knows how to produce a result that I want to produce, and all I have to do is pay them $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $50,000. And by the way, when I joined Russell Brunson's inner circle in 2015, I didn't have $30,000. I had just gone through I had just come out of 7 years of tragedy after tragedy after tragedy after tragedy. And when I joined Russell Brunson's inner circle in 2015, and it was $15,000, it was $30,000 a year. I didn't have $30,000, but I sold them on letting me pay it $5,000 now and $5,000 every other month. And they said, okay. And I said, okay, I'm in. And so that gave me the ability to get access, not just to Russell, but to Russell and his network of other high-level entrepreneurs who, when I shared the things that I knew, they thought it was valuable. And that's what gave me my breakthrough. The fact that other people who were high-level, making more money than me, they thought I was smart. And so just by being in the environment and paying for access to that environment, that transformed my life and my children's life and my grandchildren's life forever.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So once again, I remember when I started my journey and I hired my coach, I said, enough is enough. I was tired of doing one step ahead and 15 steps backwards. So I said, enough is enough. I'm going to hire a coach so I can gain time. I can learn from other people's mistakes. And Absolutely. That was the best decision that I could ever do in my life. And my coach, for the first 6 months, my coach was always telling me the importance of the peer group, And so great story. I didn't know about that, how you got in the inner circle of Russell. And this is really challenging and interesting. Okay. So we have Lily who is saying the only limitations that you have are those in your mind. So thank you for that tip. And how can we keep a strong mindset? Give us 2 tips on how to keep a strong mindset.
Well, one is be plugged into a really solid peer group. For me, reading the Bible, it's like because when I read the Bible, I understand my identity, right? Your identity produces your activity, and your activity produces your property.
Myron, are you there? Let's just wait a second to see if we can get back the connection with Myron. All right, so let's just wait a minute and see if he's joining back in. We had just Myron right now talking about how the mindset is important, and he was talking about a couple of principles that are important. Number one, he was talking about his spirituality and how being connected with the Creator and reading the Bible for him, based on his experience, was vital to allow him to succeed. And then another step he was talking was about the mindset, okay? So right now we've had a technical issue with his battery. He's coming back in right now live. And I just want to remind you something. Thursday, we're going to have, Myron is coming back in just 1 minute. And just want to tell you one thing. Thursday, we are going to have Myron back for a workshop, okay? How many of you liked what he talked about already today? Yeah, amazing. So he's going to come back on Thursday, and Thursday is going to do a workshop, and then you can ask questions. So right now we have a couple of questions that are coming directly. We're going to ask them to him so he can help us right now. So
my battery
here
died.
we go, Myron. Yeah. So what were you saying?
My battery died on my computer. I forgot to plug my computer back in when I brought it back in here. Sorry.
You know what? This is the proof we are totally live. So we were waiting for you. Go ahead.
Okay. I don't even remember where I was now.
I had asked you how is mindset important?
Oh, yes. And I was talking about reading the Bible, praying, and then listening to, I'm always reading books. Like I'm always reading personal development books and always listening to personal development audios. And basically, I maintain an attitude of gratitude. I'm always thankful for the gifts that I have, and I wake up with a truckload of gifts every day. People think I'm positive, but I'm not positive. I'm just aware. I wake up in the morning, and the first thing I realize is, wow, I woke up this morning, but everybody didn't wake up. I open my eyes and they can see. And yes, I can make my eyes open, but I can't make them see. So that's another gift. And then I get out of bed and I stand on the floor, and wow, my legs will hold me. That's another gift. And my hands work. That's a gift. And I can hear, and that's a gift. Man, before I go down the steps in my house, I've already opened dozens of gifts that are new every day. I can't do anything but live in a thankful, grateful, positive mindset. So that's how I do it. I didn't lose you, did I, Moses?
Yeah, there we go. I was saying that's really, really powerful. And we thank you so much for this. And while you were away, I was just reminding what special gift is going to be there on Thursday, that we are going to have the chance of having a workshop where Myron is going to go deeper into the science of selling high tickets. And then each one of you can ask questions. So there's going to be a specific session. It's going to be more interactive, and you're going to have Q&A where you can ask direct questions to Myron, and Myron can then answer them to you. So it's going to be more informal, and we can jump in. And just to wrap up, there's Totka is asking an amazing question, and I believe this comes from the audience. So this is really important. Why people suck in selling, and what are the biggest mistakes that happen in sales?
Yeah, the reason people are bad at sales is because they don't make enough offers. And the biggest mistake they make in sales is they don't make enough offers. So people are addicted to yes. Get over your addiction to yes. Get over your need for somebody to tell you yes. Like, I don't care if somebody says, tell me yes, or solidify your mindset that you are sorting people. You're only looking for the people who are looking for you. If they're not looking for me, I'm not looking for them. And see, when I'm selling to somebody, they can tell I don't need them. I don't say, I don't need you. I don't say that, but my energy says, I don't need you. Like, I'm going to be okay whether you buy or not. And the less you try to get somebody to buy, the more they desire to buy. Here's why. Because if people feel like you need them, they believe they don't need you. But if they feel like you don't need them, they believe you need them. They believe they need you. And so my objective when I'm selling is to get them to realize how much they need me and how much I don't need them.
Well, this is a different version of what they teach in sales. Like, you need to treat your client as a lover. The more you're far away, the more they come close to you. Okay, but the way you said it has been such a wow moment for me, because this is really interesting and really amazing. And we've got Eli, thank
Eli
you very
Wild, that's my
much.
dude. Yeah, Eli Wild's right
Eli
here in
said,
Florida.
you're a legend. Change game for me.
Well,
And this from Eli, one of the tops, probably the top salesperson in Tony Robbins' environment. And
absolutely.
he's saying this is really amazing.
Yeah,
And
Eli's a legend himself. He's
absolutely.
he's next level. He's a legend himself. So Eli,
Yeah,
thank you for those props, bro.
Yeah, and we are glad to have him in our network, both of us, and it's really a blessing.
Absolutely.
And he's going to be one of our future guests too in
Awesome.
Expert to Experts. Final question, Myron, is how to handle rejection. Because, for example, when I do my training in sales, okay, when I do my training in sales, by the way, Eli is saying, thank you, bro, honored. You're very welcome from me and from Myron. So what happens is a lot of people, okay, because we live in a society where everything is fast food, everything is immediate, instantaneous. So we always want to have an immediate gratification, okay? Sure. So people do not know how to handle rejection. For example, what I teach, I tell people that when somebody tells you no, that's the best thing you can get because it's next opportunity. Right. So what can you say about handling rejection?
Yeah. So here's what I'm going to say. I can tell you how to never get another no. I mean, I can show you how one-on-one sales never get another no. And I know that sounds mind-blowing. Of course you can't do that. No, I can. So wow. Moses, you know, if you're in a one-on-one sales consultation and somebody is attempting to figure out how they can say no, you can smell it, you can feel it, right?
Yeah.
Well, so what I do, and when I'm in sales, if I feel like somebody's feeling no, I tell them no before they have an opportunity to tell me no. I reject them, and I don't even give them an opportunity to reject me. I let them off my hook. Like, let's say I'm presenting something to you, and I know this is not what people want to hear, but this is how I've done it. I've closed millions of dollars in sales, and somebody's like, "Well, but what about?" I say, "You know what? It doesn't seem like you're the kind of person that this is going to work for. At least not now, and that's okay. We can still be friends. But I'm going to let you off my hook right now. It's been really nice talking to you. Have a great day." Like, what? No, but I still want to hear more of what you have to say. But you don't understand. I don't have anything else to say. I'm looking for people who are looking. And right now it appears to me that you're not looking, and that's okay. We can still be friends, but this is not your opportunity, at least not now. By the way, how's your family? Wow. Okay, great. Have a nice day. I am literally done. And when I'm done, I'm done. I always, and people think I'm joking when I say this, but I will talk you out of buying something from me before I'll talk you into it. So if you're looking for me to convince you, you got the wrong dude.
Wow.
Because convincing is the opposite of persuasion.
Yeah.
Convincing is when I attempt to get you to do something I desire you to do for my reasons. Persuasion is when I help you make a decision you already desire to make for your own reasons. And if by the time I get to the close, you don't have a desire to buy, then I failed to uncover enough value.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want you to buy, because I only want you to buy something that's valuable to you. I have no need whatsoever for a paycheck. I do not need to make one more sale ever for the rest of my life. So I am totally disconnected. By the way, I was disconnected from the outcome when I did need to make a sale. Because when I knew I needed to make a sale, I knew I didn't need to make this one.
This is really powerful because this goes on, this is a pro level on uncertainty, okay? Because as an expert of human behavior, I always tell, when I do my trainings of sales, I always tell them what sales is your level of certainty and the level of what you are convinced. But now, Myron, you have taken this to another level. So, you have just showed us how you can avoid getting to a situation where somebody may reject your offer, and then you have to go kind of beating up yourself. Why did I do wrong and things like that?
I don't do any of that. I don't do any of that. I say, you know what, this ain't for you, and then I'm going straight to the golf course. I'm going to go hang out with my wife. I'm done, and we're still friends. But I don't, and they'll say something like, but I still want to hear what else you have to say. But you don't understand. I don't have anything else to say. I'm done. Like when I'm done, I'm done. I'm not almost done. I'm not kind of done. I'm not sort of done. I'm done.
And then what happens if this client wants to buy from you? What do you do?
Well, if they ever call back and want to buy, if they ever call back and want to buy, then it's just a buy. There's no long conversations.
All right.
Right. Because I've already taken it off the table. They already know what the deal is.
Okay.
But I'm taking it off the table. And then I'm going to, if somebody calls me back, say, Myron, you know what? I've been thinking, I really do need this coaching program you offer. Great. So tell me, like, I've got a limited amount of time and a limited amount of spaces in my coaching program. Tell me why I should let you be one of them. Because the last time we talked, it didn't seem like you were ready. And I'm going to let them sell me on why I should let them in. And that's not a ploy. Like I don't want to drag you in. If I got to drag you in, I'm going to have to drag you around, right? So I don't want to, like, I don't have any desire to carry anybody across the finish line.
Absolutely.
So
wow, this is really amazing and powerful. And I'm just going to take a couple of seconds just to remind whoever is watching us right now today that E2E is a program that is available. On Monday, we're going to bring value. We're going to bring more value than anybody else just to support you with an expert in different areas. And today we had the privilege of having Myron with us, and this was an amazing honor to have Myron with us. Then on Thursday is for a closed number of people where we're going to have a workshop and you can interact with our expert directly. Now, because February is my birthday, I was so kind and my
happy
team.
Birthday.
Yeah, it was on Wednesday. Thank you. So Wednesday was my birthday. So for the month of February, I am giving access on Thursday to everybody. Okay. And there's a special promo, and the team has just put the link on Facebook. You can just watch it right now. There's a membership, monthly membership, which is 17 pounds. Okay. Which is approximately $20 US. And there's 147 for one entire year. You can be part of a closed group, interact with the expert, ask your question, and allow yourself to be shaped and get to where you want to go and take advantage of the experience. For example, today we have got a concentrated version of 37 years of experience that Myron has shared with us, and he has done on his own body with his own mistakes, with his own challenges. He has given us all this knowledge. So for those of you who are interested, just jump in. And for all of you, the rest, we will meet you on Thursday for the workshop and the Q&A. And as we are finalizing everything right now with Myron, okay, we've got exactly 1 minute and a half. Okay, I would just want to thank you so much for your time. I know how busy you are, and I appreciate how you jumped in. And let me tell you one thing, guys who are watching us right now. Myron is so committed in adding value and supporting people that even with a really short notice, he just jumped in and came on. And
yeah. And Mose, I've got a vitamin ID appointment I've got to get to, like stat.
Yeah,
so,
just 30 seconds. How can people get in touch with you and know more about you?
Okay, so the best way to follow me is on Instagram. The best way to message me is on Instagram. I'm at Myron Golden. So my name is right there, at Myron Golden, all one word. Or you can go to my website, myrongolden.com.
All right. For those of you who want more, on Thursday, I will give you the links and I'll put them on right now so you can get in touch and follow Myron to get more insights from him. And Myron, thank you so much. We've got the last 10 seconds. Thank you so much. It has been an honor to have you. I wish you an amazing rest of the day and see you on Thursday, 9 UK time, and it's going to be 4 in Florida. Thank you so much, all of you, and see you on Thursday. Thank you, Myron. Stay blessed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wow. It has been amazing. Thank you so much, all of you, to have joined us. For those of you who want to be more part of this community of E2E and expert to expert, I'm putting back the link right now. You can subscribe for the yearly or for the monthly. I'm going to tell my team to put the monthly link, so you can just put it and you can just click on. It's a membership, and you can be part of this, and you can take your life to the next level. Let me see if the team can put it right now, the monthly one. And see you on Thursday, and have an amazing rest of the day, and stay blessed, stay strong, and see you. Let me just put on the banner just to remind you that Thursday we are going to have the Q&A with Myron Golden at 9 p.m. UK time. All right? So thank you so much. Have a blessed evening. It was my pleasure to serve you once again. My name is Moses, and I'm on a mission. I'm on a mission to make sure that you can live your life in that outstanding way you have been created to live it. Thank you so much. Stay blessed, stay safe, and see you on Thursday. Bye-bye.